Hey guys, loads better out here, Been sitting outside with my coffee for a short while. I just thought I had to tell you about my experiences with the Tektite, like how that's going. Because just now I uploaded a video that shows those three little stones that I'm wearing again now. Feeling much better now that I'm wearing them. Going to see whether this works if I put on down onto this fence contraption. Yes, like this I can actually wave both my hands at you. So here's my stones, the infamous Tektite, like that, and the two obsidians are in here. And it actually turns out that this is a really comfortable, as far as goes, it's a comfortable combination to wear. So you might combine Tektite with smoky quartz as well. I think that would work just fine. Anything that's really grounding or that helps you sort of grow roots to this new part of life that's kind of happening, because that's what it's doing. The Tektite is quite a big deal to me. Again, I'm having quite a bit of an experience with this quite large, nice rounded globe of meteorite glass. It's quite hard. Can you hear that? That's how hard it is. Lots of anxiety. I wore it almost all day yesterday, all of the afternoon really, until about 7 o'clock in the evening. Then I took it all off because I was just flatlining, exhausted, and I didn't know what to do with myself anymore. And we still had to go to see other people and all that. And there was a bit of a headache coming on, which is a signal that it's enough, So off it went, the whole lot of it, into the bag. And I just, I don't know, went with my husband and talked to the people and generally, trudged along. And we got home by 9ish, 9 and a bit in the evening, which was okay because it might have been a lot later, and it wasn't. So we had a cup of tea and a bit of orange juice and freshly pressed, because vitamins really crucial in that type of in any type of situation. Whenever you're exhausted, go to the fruity side of things, diet wise. Other than that, what did I do exactly? There's leaves falling off my tree, so there might be a leaf coming through here now and again. This is a smallish leaf from the wisteria, and there's fig leaves, like so, falling off also. So, because it's autumn, and we're almost at Halloween. Next week, Thursday, will be Halloween, and I was telling myself also, this is the midway point between the equinox and the solstice. So, because that's the whole point, basically, of those quarter festivals, right? To be aware of where you are in the seasons. And I'm really enjoying the fact that it's actually autumn. Today is another rather nice day, a bit sunny, got a bit of light coming in. There's a bit of sun passing through the leaves and the branches of my trees over here. And, that's the winds in the trees, the winds in the west. The air is moving, it's pleasant, which is good, because I woke up in the middle of the night, 4 o'clock, some crazy time, and my head was splitting, because when I go to sleep, when I have a headache, it's just going to develop into this throbbing pain, and went out, had aspirin. It tends to do the trick as long as I don't go back to sleep immediately. I have to sit up, my back against the wall, and stay vertical as long as possible to get the frustration out of the eyeball here. And so that got me thinking. At that point, my collection here was downstairs on the table, so further away from me. And so I got to think a bit about this whole anxiety thing because that was very much on my mind still. And that's also why I'm here, because for me, what manifested, or what I sort of finally understood, was that um, the source of my anxiety really is that, hey, look at that, isn't that cute? Sun's shining on me, on my throat chakra here. So, way to go. The source of my anxiety is that both my parents, and especially my mum, saw me really not as a separate person ever, but as an extension of themselves. And that was a big problem for me. Maybe that's not necessarily always a problem for everybody, but I want to distinguish those two polarities here. The polarity where we need and want their affection, even if we've had only yay much of it, we're going to want that for the rest of our lives. However, in the framework of affection, in the whole world of that, you're going to somebody next door. Hang on a second. Yes, because I didn't want to bother my neighbor with my talking here. So, because discretion, potentially. In the frame of mind, in the type of self that you identify with, let's put it that way, on that side of things, I suppose what I felt like was, if I'm an extension of them, of course, then I'm an extension of whatever it is that they've gone through. And not only them personally, both my parents, but also all of their families, where there was a whole lot of pain and no solutions and no tools and no help ever, because everybody was fighting everybody in both of their families. In different ways, but they were all fighting. So to me, I have never really experienced that much taking care of people and looking out for people and having, kids be safe and allowed and left to grow and have their own lives, basically. If you connect, what you're gonna get is more of their scenarios. I incorporated on that side of me, I incorporated all their problems, and basically to such an extent that I didn't really have any identity. And this is really where it also ties in with the whole soul retrieval exercise and all that, This is why I'm interested in this whole dichotomy, because more can be said on the side. But on the other side, of course, is where you want to be an individual. Okay? So this is a collective side of things, and this is an individual side of things. And there's a line in the middle, and it looks to me now like we're growing towards the individual side of things. Everybody talks about that. And it's hard. And to me, I tend to be maybe sometimes a bit extreme on the individualistic side of things. Like, I don't do priests really well. I don't accept authority at all. I'm all about personal sovereignty for everyone, because I think that is something that doesn't just apply to me, myself. If I want that, then everybody else has it, right? And there's a whole lot that can be said about that. This stone, the Tektite, actually manifested such a deep, visceral, skeletal level of fear again, that I had to unpack that. I had to sit there inside that emotion and feel like, okay, so this is what I have struggled with all my life, that I haven't recently encountered anymore with people, because I just stay away from people who give me that type of stuff, where they actually, where it feels to me like what they're doing and saying denies me any right to a separate existence. Okay? So that's the point of this story here. Do we have a separate existence or don't we? On the collective side of things, where we are so connected and so engulfed basically and overwhelmed often and what have you, this is where we also encounter this pain because we are individuals as well, and we are separate, we are people. So this stone is actually proving to be just extraordinary again to have close. This morning, when I went downstairs to get me a cup of tea, I picked a lot up again, and I stuck them onto a hook by my bed as I had my tea and drunk my, tea and had a little read and watched 1.5 bits on the internet, things like that, and it just generally hung around a bit. And then I could still feel at like halfway, like arm's length, some half a meter or so, I could feel how it was challenging me. This stone is such a such a lot of work, it's like barbed wire, only the barbed wire was always inside of me and it's just pulling it out, and that hurt quite a bit. So as I decided an hour ago or so that I was getting up, going to go to the market because I needed just a couple of tiny little shoppings, and to come back home afterwards, I decided to put them back on again, to actually wear them. And the first, 20 minutes or so, I was still, like shaking and feeling all this stinging, and it's so physical. It's crazy. And yes, that was more neighbor action. So I feel embarrassed, talking about these things, although it is so much better to be doing this out here rather than, inside the house. So, all that, it's taught me again that not being an individual is not an option, but I was also shaped this way because I wasn't really all that much of a fighter to begin with. And another little point that struck me in relation to all this is that my ascendant, so what I look like on the outside to people, also here, Libra at, 9 degrees, 9, 10 degrees, depends a bit on the website or the software that you use, is exactly opposite both my parents' Mercury position in Aries at 9 degrees. So I could sort of feel how that works out, and there's a lot more astrologically going on. I won't bore you with that, but it's like anything they project outwards in terms of how they understand the world will just go utterly against my grain. And migraine, not that kind of migraine, the other grain, okay? And it's like I have no choice but to become this ferocious personal sovereignty nut, where nothing matters to me as much in the world as all of us being free individuals to have a choice about things. And that was the big deal, Leo, in me conforming to their whole collective of, endless centuries of misery, is that you don't have a choice. In a concentration camp, you don't have a choice. In all that. When your father beats you when you're 5 years old, or your mother, you don't have a choice. You have no choices. And that's where we come from. And we move towards, or we expand towards, this different approach of humanity. Eventually, we will get there, all of us. I'm sure, I'm confident. And it's through the pain. It is through this type of experience, only through this type of experience, that I actually find I'm here. Not only because they're no longer here with me, I suppose. Still very insecure. Still very not confident, you know? Thank you for watching, and I will be, maybe posting this. Maybe I will post something else later on. Thank you. See you soon. Bye bye.